What's good, y'all? Inside Abode. Actually, listen. Is Pierce County finally a buyer's market? We're going to go over that and we're going to go over some more information that you might want to listen to for this episode if you're a buyer or seller or agent or anybody just interested in real estate. So, before I get into all of that, I want you to hit the subscribe button. I want you to make sure that you're subscribed so then next week you can get in on whatever it is that we're talking about. We talk about all kinds of different stuff on here. But right now, I really want to focus on the market because we've just been seeing things that I think there's a shift. And what I don't want is for people to see the shift. What I don't want is I don't want people to notice it next year. I want you to see it now. And because that'll dictate how you move in the future. And so today we're going to take a look at the dot plot for the FOMC and the Fed rate. We're going to take a look at the Northwest MLS and a press release they just released about the market, and we'll go over that. And then we're going to look at the months of inventory and things that I always like to look at. We're not going to be very long, so if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe there and just watch because I'm going to go over charts and stuff like that, and I want to make sure that y'all can see it. And so that's the best experience if you watch it on like Spotify. Actually, you know what? I think Apple now allows you to upload videos. I haven't done it in a while, so I think they do, but I'm going to check. I saw something and I was like, man, it's about time, Apple. Shoot. I mean, Spotify's been on that for a minute. So Spotify actually on that platform, go and watch the videos over there because if you have Spotify, if you just got the free version, that's cool too. But find us over there. You can see the video so you should be able to see these charts. Anyway, so we've been having a lot of conversations in the office about, obviously the real estate market and what's going on and what agents are going through and all of that. So let's just stop talking and get into it. Let's get into this first thing. I'm going to go into the news article that I talked about. Oh, was that this one? Dang. Oh, here it goes. Yeah. Let's go into this news article. So Northwest MLS says inventory surges while sales slow and prices hold steady. So Northwest Multiple Listing Services, the source for most current, the market recap. The housing supply continued to expand across the Northwest MLS service area in April, with active listings rising 28.4% year over year, and increasing more than 23% from March as the spring market gained momentum. Inventory expanded, the market activity remained mixed. Closed sales declined 3.7% year over year, even as showings and key box accesses increased from both March and April 2025. So the median sales price remained unchanged from a year ago at $650,000, reflecting a market with more choices for buyers but continued affordability constraints. Now, one thing I want to make a note of that. So when I'm looking at this, it says the median sales price remained unchanged from a year ago at $650,000. I think that's interesting. The reason why is because if it hasn't changed, then chances are there are going to be some concessions and things made. And so I want to talk about that for sellers, especially, and for buyers, just to know what you have available to you out there. But I'm going to show it to you in numbers because the overall trend is that, there's concessions being made. Some things are obviously going at list price or some maybe just a little bit above, but it's literally property to property. The overall trend, though, is that things are stagnant, or not stagnant. The price, in terms of price, is the same, as it says here in the article. Oh, April 2026 key takeaways. I do know it's May. We're going to look at some May stuff here just in a minute, but the total number of properties listed for sale increased 28.4% year over year. We already talked about that. And this is for all of Northwest MLS, 18,563 listings. So that's just the overall. I want to take a look at like more direct, Pierce County stuff. So that's, I'm going to go look at that. Let's go over the trend graphics. Let's go over months of inventory. So, I like to look at months of inventory based on pending sales because that's a little bit more recent, like it's things that are literally under contract right now versus closed sales, which went under contract most likely the month prior or a couple months before that. So I want to make sure that we're up to date. But just for S's and G's, I'm trying to look at the months of inventory based on closed sales. Let's look at that. So here's the graph right here. And you can see that we have gone down to 2 in the month of March in terms of months of inventory. And then we went back up to 2.3 months of inventory. And that tracks with last year. Last year, actually, at this time, we were not that high, but we had the most inventory moving into the latter part of the year. And that typically happens, but I think we are in spring market, so it's interesting to see us going up. And are there buyers to buy the inventory, which typically we're going to have more inventory in this time? And are there enough buyers to buy that inventory? That's the question. But let's look at like inventory, months of inventory, just month to date. So this is for based on closed sales. So I'm going to go actually to pending sales. This is in my opinion, this is a more accurate read on what's happening right now, based on like what's going under contract. So you can see the numbers, the fluctuation there. So we went down to 1.8 and then 2. So it's at 2 for the month of April. But even if I go down here and look at, the current month, or I'm sorry, current month to date, you have, so from 5/1 to 5/21, you have 1.9 months of inventory based on pending sales. So that's interesting to look at. If you're looking at closed sales, that means that that's what happened before. But, 1.9 based on pending sales is pretty, it's still 2. Is that a buyer's market? Not all the way based on the numbers, because 3 to 6 months they consider a buyer's market, but it feels like it, and that's, I think the other thing, like we can just look at numbers all we want, but in terms of how it feels, the affordability, the rate, all that kind of stuff, like there's other factors that go into this in terms of how it feels versus like what the actual numbers are. But I do want to see that, because I think that, like, okay, for context, like when we were in 2020, 2021, it was 0.3 months of inventory to 0.8 months of inventory. It wasn't even a month of inventory. What I mean by that is, like if you stopped putting homes on the market, like if you stop right now putting homes on the market, that's how long it would take to sell the rest of the homes. And so that's what that months of inventory is and it's basically like the churn of, of what's going. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. I'm going to let's take a look at what's happening in the actual market in terms of just in Pierce County based on, this for this month, and look at like what's pending with multiple offers, what's pending with escalation addendums. So you can see here, based on Northwest MLS data, we have pendings with multiple offers today, as of today, like right now, today. What is it, May 22nd? Friday, May 22nd. Today, it's 23% of the pendings of the contracts, or the houses that are under contract right now that are pending, have 23% of those have multiple offers. So it's 29% based on the date range, which would be, this month. So a month to date. So I just did it from the first of the month. But yeah, as of today, right now, that actually dipped down. So there's less homes with multiple offers today as we sit versus the whole month in totality. So it's gone down actually with time. And then we have pendings with the escalation addendums. That's 5%. So only 5% of homes have an escalation addendum on those properties. So 95% of the homes that go under contract do not have an escalation. So just so you know, sellers, that's a very good little data point right there. So if you are in that 5%, congratulations to you, man. You have a house that people want. Pendings with finance addendums, 84%. Most of them have 84%. That's pretty flat. And pendings with an inspection addendum, we're looking at 65% of those. That's just interesting stuff to look at. I think is very just something you need to know. This is all stuff you need to know. One thing that I want to make sure I share with you is this. And let's see. I think one of the things that I like to look at is what is the trend that let me go. I'm going to go to April here, a month to date, May. So what are the trends that I can see based on like when new listings come on, what is their median price? And then when they're closed, what is the median price? And there's a gap there. So if I look at, say, for example, new listings and the median price of those, I'm looking at right now, $199,900 is the median price in Pierce County for homes that are pending or that are, that go on the market. Now, when you look at homes that have closed, that median price is $575,000. So basically, when it goes on the market, that tells me that I need to find the price reduction data. Maybe on the next one, I'll go and find some information on that. But, so that tells me that like when it goes on the market, median price is where it's at. But then also as it closes in the same area, like we're, almost $25,000 less. So something just to be aware of when you're listing your home, and your agent might be telling you a price and you might be pushing for that price based on what your neighbor said, based on what Zillow says, based on whatever says. But I'm just sitting here looking at the data of things that have happened, and the median price month to date in May of homes that have gone on in Pierce County is 500, basically 600,000 base. And then the median price of the homes that have closed in the month of May, month to date, is 575. Just taking that number for what it is. I want y'all to I'm just going over numbers, y'all. This has nothing to do with you, your house, whatever. I'm just going over numbers that I want to help you make better decisions. And when we look at the closed average days on market for month to date, we've been hovering around 43, 44 for the last 2 months. So 44 month to date right now. And then we had 43, 49, 65, 64 as we were going earlier in the year. So it's a normal, I guess I remember, this is what I've been talking about around here is I remember like when we were having the crazy market and things were going really fast, like all the OGs were like, man, I mean, we used to have houses, a healthy market is 30 to 45 days, blah, blah. I was like, man, I don't know if we're going to see that anytime soon because stuff was going in like 2 weeks or whatever. We're there now, like the numbers say it. The median days on market, the closed average days on market is 44. And then let me see if I can find another one. Active listings, pending. Yeah. And this one, on this reading, it says months of inventory 3.4. So, I mean, that's a different data source. It's not exactly straight from the Northwest MLS. So, you got to take that with whatever, you got to take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But I still think that those are just numbers that you want to pay attention to and look at. I think I had one more in here. Let me double check. Oh, the Fed rate. So some of y'all might be like, and you can cut this, and we're going to cut this to this part. Now let's look at the Fed rate. And I'm not going to look at the Fed rate. I'm going to look at what's called the dot plot. So this dot plot, basically, it represents all the people on the FOMC board and where they think in the year we might end up or where we should be or whatever. We currently are at 3.5 right now. And most of the participants, you can see some are like, they're like hovering right over the line at 3.5. And so that tells me that people don't think that we're going to go down any further. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5, people on the FOMC board that believe that we should be down at the 3 and 2. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. 2.5, whatever. But most people are hovering around that 3.5. Some right below it and some right above it. So that tells me that it's what you feel or what you read in the news or what salacious headline or whatever. Great. Kevin Warsh is the new Fed chair. Great. He's one person. There's many people on the FOMC board that take this into account. It's not just one person that dictates the rates. So for this part, like I just wouldn't be waiting for the rates if it were me. But just because what I would be waiting for is my situation to be good. You know what I mean? Like if you have that luxury. And so that's just, I think you're going to hear a lot of headlines around Kevin Warsh. You're going to hear a lot of headlines around the rates. From what it says here, the FOMC folks are not seeing in 2026 that we're going to be having much movement in terms of the rates. And that could change. That can definitely change. Things can change overnight. We could be out of war and the Strait opens up and things start going, and all of a sudden, who knows? Like nobody knows this. We are in an uncertain economy and an uncertain time. And so in uncertain economic times. And so that's something like when you hear about rates and you see that they're going to fluctuate, they're going to be volatile. But that's just what the dot plot says, not what Dave Jones says. That's what the dot plot says. So with that, let me switch my layout. All right. With that, I've talked enough. Hopefully that helps you. And let me know if you have any questions. DavidJones@Windermere.com. We'll get someone else on next week. I want to talk about like what are some of the sellers going through? What are we seeing on the ground? We'll have some more stories and some more, just some more information on what's happening in the market. I want to make sure that you be kept abreast, especially in the spring market right now when things are moving and people are making decisions on vacations and all those other things. And so anyway, y'all be good. All right. And make sure you tune in next time. Don't listen next time. And you probably know someone that needs this. Send it on to them. It only takes like 2 seconds to click that and send it on. I'm just saying, like, you probably might know someone that says, like, man, what's going on with the market, or what's going on with this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, tap in. Tell them to tap into the Inside Abode podcast. All right. Y'all be good. Happy Memorial Day. Make sure you go visit your folks at their sites and all those other things and pay homage. All right. Y'all be good. Inside Abode. Peace.